everyone. Happy new week. It's a new week, which means it's a new episode of Squad Iko Sawa. We're so happy that you've joined us today, and we are talking about something that is very near and dear to the heart, which is God's timing versus our timeline. Yeah. So how are you able to balance between waiting on God and choosing to do it your way? Yeah. How do you practice faith and action? And these are all the things that we're gonna get into in this episode. So if it's something that you would be interested in, please listen on. Make sure that you are following us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a rating. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. This gives us motivation to keep doing what we're doing and encourages us, even though we are virtually connecting. And it'll be a cool way for you to be a part of the squad. So if you haven't, follow us already. And for now, let's get to the episode. What up?
Hello.
How are you?
I am well.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It has.
The traveling has ended.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You're back now.
Hey, the Lord of Shani answers prayers.
Listen. Send your prayer requests in the comment section. Yeah.
They were answered, but I'm doing good. Last week I was great.
Yeah.
This week is good because had a long day.
Yes.
But we had to do this.
Yeah, we did.
We had to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about the coming weekend. I think the people who are gonna see this, maybe a gig would have happened.
Yes.
You know, so
we're shooting this on Saturday. So the gig is tomorrow. But for the people who are watching, it's on Tuesday. So that means that the gig went well. We had a great time.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a fun time. I love like urban gospel, and I usually really love the crowd. They are so open to new sounds and just hearing like what you have to offer, and they like sing word for word, which is great. Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been okay. I'm great now. My man is back. I'm enjoying it. I think actually, to be very honest, I feel like the same way I got used to like the long distance, like you being away, I'm now getting used to now like having to share the house again with someone. I'm like, wow, like I just walk and there's someone who's doing something that's not me in this house. So yeah, but I'm good. I'm very well. Again, I'm just experiencing quite some progress, and I'm like praying and hoping for fruition. That's my main like prayer this season and period. Yeah. I'm waiting for the manifestation.
Hey, come on.
Of the Lord. Yeah, but I'm good. Coffee.
Awesome. A nice topic with us today.
It is. It's a very interesting one. Today we're talking about God's timing versus our timeline. Yeah. In Muhanje, I don't know. Maybe you can tell us, the people, the squad, if you have ever had a time where there's a certain way you had planned for things to happen. And then God was like, listen, let me show you the real Mutaratara. Now, for the people who do not know what Mutaratara is, it is the alignment of the Lord in English, British language.
The Great Britain language.
Yeah. Have you had like a moment where you have been just like there's a certain plan you had in mind and God was like, oh, that's great.
But let me show
you how exactly it's supposed to go.
I think I've had like moments like those.
Yeah.
Where like I thought or figured that this is the road that I want to go. I think way early in my childhood.
Okay, let's go there.
I knew I wanted to do a lot of creative stuff with my life. Thank God for my dad who believed me, or he was just like, you know, he was just like, you do it. Maybe you'll get tired, or you'll get to a place where you'll be like, nah, maybe I want something else. Like he was open in that sense.
To like whatever you want.
Whatever the direction goes. So like I used to like be quite a great artist, like drawing.
Oh, not artist, like a singer.
Yeah, like a singer.
Drawing. Okay, interesting.
Yes, and I used to dance a lot.
Okay.
Which I still do.
He does.
If the money is right. If the bag is is right.
Yeah.
I might just
I'm gonna do a little dancey dance.
Wish.
Yeah.
But I think as I grew up, some of those interests fell. You know, at some point I stopped drawing.
Yeah.
Apart from the calligraphy period in high school, which is like,
Yeah.
it's almost
Oh my
like
God.
it has to happen.
Do the youngins send letters nowadays?
Probably they have phones.
Do you remember
in
there was a
school.
time? No, do you remember there was a time we went to so random? We went to
A high
was
school?
it? Yeah, I can't remember which high school it was. I think we had gone for missions, and they were telling us like they sent stickies. Some it was
Which is wild.
I guess now like the way our parents used to be so shocked at like how we maneuver. I'm like, wow, I really thought we'd hack this like parenting or adulting thing, and then you realize every generation like things change
and every generation has their own thing.
For sure.
It was really interesting to see like they use stickies. But I think now with me, like different times of my life, like certain things I thought would stand, and they
So
end
you
up
thought
dropping
like
off.
drawing and
Yeah.
that side of you would.
Oh man, I thought I'd be like, I don't know, I'd be the Mozart of drawing.
Yeah.
Like the Michelangelo, all those guys.
Really like a painter.
Yeah, that was the direction.
We need
I
more
thought
painters in this world, eh?
Very
we
true.
do murals,
Very
that
true.
whole thing. We need
Yeah.
more.
So I thought that was going to be like the path of my life too. So I thought I'd be a dancer, and then
At some point, he was a DJ.
you see,
too.
you see. So now, as
You're
I
right.
progressed,
You're right.
I did DJing. That also dropped off, and it wasn't from a place of I'm dropping this off. It was like I had an interest, picked it, then ran with it, just to see like where does this go.
Yeah.
And I think the many lives I have lived and the many names people know me by, to now fully now just embracing the
Husband.
artist.
Sorry.
Yes, husband. But now fully just embracing that I've been in so many pockets of art. I've been in the poetry circle. Big shout out to the people that we started poetry with. With the time I was actively doing it, you know, like seeing some of my friends still do it, like the Goofies, Kaisers, Teardrop, Mufasa, Ngatia, like,
And that's not Aaron Pierre. No.
you know, like seeing them do it for me, it's like it's still a thing I can do. However, I focused on more of other things, and sometimes I double in and out of it. But I don't think that was really. I don't think the call was just do this one thing.
I see. So from what you're saying, for you was more of like a journey of figuring out not really what sticks, but what you feel like you can do for a long period of time, and you landed on music. Like you tried a number of things, and then you landed on music.
However,
Yes.
the music has always been there. I just didn't think of it highly. I just thought it was like a thing you can do and then stop and then do other things. So I never took so much interest in it. I used to do it.
Yeah.
I used to battle people in high school. I used to make those talent shows. You do, you win, you dance in a random hotel and then you win. Like I used to do a lot about it, but it just didn't make sense to me that this was a thing, you know? Yeah.
But do you have any, I think my question I'm trying to put across is, do you have any plan that you feel like has taken too long for God to answer?
Now when I figured out the music was what I wanted.
Okay.
Now
Take
that's
us there.
when.
Take us there, sir.
That's where the journey started, I
Yes.
think. And I think now, I think it shaped into and morphed into different things. Did live band. I think that's where I learned more about performing and all that. Worked in a group, did it as a group, did it as an individual act, which I'm still on that path. But I think it has taken and shaped so many
Ways.
It has formed in so many ways that right now if I look at it, I'm like, at some point I was like, am I wasting my time? Because I saw people who came later, came and just passed me through as if like, who were like, hey, Kwani, what am I doing? Why am I still here? And then you start questioning and being like, am I really cut out for this? Or am I, is this really where I should be? And I think there are times you have those conversations with God. I think it's like, I think understanding what you're called for is like, I don't know how to term it. It's like it's sort of like a disease. Like you start with denial that you have it, and then you go, you're like, oh my God, it's really true, it's there. And then you're mourning, you're like, oh, will I ever heal? And then you start getting better. Then it's like you get sick, then heal slowly. And then now you're like, wow, it really took a long process, but it was worth it. So I think I had that growing pain with God and having so many questions to God and being like, hey, is this the thing that I'm supposed to do? Am I wasting my time here, my resources? And then during those periods, usually ask yourself, if I was putting this money into something else, I would have done so much. Hey, you just like, I should have done so much.
Yeah.
I've used so much money here, it's gone.
Feel like you've invested in something that's not giving back.
Yes. And I think partly there are days I still have it, and there are days
That's
I'm just
honest.
there are days I still have it, and you really question, oh, maybe you got like deals that were very shoddy, and people sort of wanted to waylay you into things you didn't want to be involved in, and then you're like, hey, that's not what I want. Like I want to form a good career in music, but you're like, if I involve myself in this, that might be the
If
end.
I allow them to wash me,
You'll be washed
the
away.
blood of Jesus will.
You know, I don't know if you've had like such experiences.
Yeah, I have. I think even when you were talking about music, I was like, yeah, same. I feel the same way because I think for me, and this is not to be braggadocious or anything, but I do believe that I am talented in what I do and I'm super skilled.
Brag on them.
But I questioned, like I was like, this is taking longer than I thought it would be and I think sometimes because of like the way people can question, like, oh, what is my purpose? What will I do with my life? And for me, I was very sure that music is what I wanted to do from pretty early on. So me knowing it and me, like, I guess now pursuing it and it's not giving me fruit. It's like when you know, it's like when you think of David was anointed to be king, like when he was like 12.
Yes.
But he didn't become king until he was 30. So for me, it was like, I knew from when I was young, like music is what I'm called to do. It's what I love doing and I love being on stage, as evidenced by Sunday, prophetically, because it's Saturday today. But I really love doing music, but the more I've pursued it, I'm just like, come on. Like there's a phrase we say in Kenya, it's like IGP, like it's not yet at the point where it's either breaking even or even bringing in profit, or and I have seen progress for sure. If I look back, there's significant growth. However, it's not maybe the growth I desire. Maybe I want more, and I question. I'm like, I don't know. So for me, like my timeline in music has definitely been, I've really been learning patience, contentment, and all of that. So for me, it was music, and I think also marriage. But for marriage, for me, has been a different timeline, because I think for me, I didn't even think I'd get married ever. So even when I was in my 20s, like when I'm still in my 20s, guys. When I was young, when I was in my early 20s, I wasn't particularly interested in like even dating. And it's not that I didn't love. I did. I don't know. I just never thought it would work for me. Maybe it's because of my past and everything. So I don't know, like even when it happened, I remember when I met you, I was like, okay, this one I can't stay with this one. This one I like him. He's nice. I could see myself spending my life with him, but I don't even think, you remember even like early on when we were dating, I never used the word marriage. I was just like, I want to be with you for a long time, but it was never
it was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it wasn't a marriage conversation. So I really had to look within and realize that, this is what I want, and this, if I want this is what it means. So I had to merge the two and kind of figure out what it looks like for me. So I'm even so grateful, like with this particular journey, because for you held so much grace and space for me to be like, as you figure it out, I'm with you and we're gonna work through it. So yeah, I think it's like those two. It's like this thing I didn't think I wanted happened sooner than I thought, and then this thing that I really, really want,
it's not happening.
She is taking her time.
Yeah.
What do you think, even as we're on the music conversation, what do you think about the phrase that music is a jealous
career?
Yes.
I think.
And how do you draw boundaries with the music? Because it can only be jealous if you allow it. Yeah. So how do you draw that boundary of like, okay, it's okay you're jealous, but even me, I got so many other things to do. Yes.
I think
and is it even okay to be in that state of mind?
One, I think it's very hard to quantify how jealous music is, because I think music is like one of those things that is not moved solely by how good you are. It can just be a feeling, and that's why people sometimes
like you don't progress by how good you are. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and that's painful to hear for you who's a very creative,
yeah,
and for a layman person, because it's like sometimes you would give people something that is super creative and they just don't understand it.
For sure.
That's why mostly in most creative arts, people talk about musicians like this person is way ahead of their time.
Or they're an alternative artist.
Exactly. Because people don't understand you. And I think artists, people who maybe do, like most expressions have that with it. And I think people say it's jealous because it's those creative arts that you necessarily don't have to, what's the word? You necessarily don't have to fight with it. It's just there. If you're creative, it's just there. You can suppress it, but it will always find
a way to
be expressed. It will always find expression in anything that you'd sit with people, and then someone will just remind you of a random thing you drew when you're in school, and you're just like, what? I used to draw those things. Those things were so nice. Why do I not do it? So I think it's jealous.
Why did I stop?
Yeah, it's jealous in the sense that it brings comfort to you. It brings fulfillment to you, comfort to others, inspiration to others, and even you can also inspire yourself just by what you do. And I think it's jealous because it requires a lot of time.
Yes.
People don't.
A lot of time, a lot of investment.
Yes.
Like today, for example, today's Saturday. We're just we're prepping for the show on Sunday. So maybe the behind the scenes that people don't see is we have to think about choreography.
Yes.
So if we're having dancers and if we're having them, what exactly are we doing with them?
Yeah.
We're thinking who are we going to work with as a DJ. We're thinking how we're going to organize this performance set so that it's both appealing to the audience and you're also able to enjoy it as an artist, because there has to be that balance. You serve as you also serve yourself. Yes. And then now, even from like a physical point of view, it's like what am I consuming? How am I working out, prepping for the show physically?
Yeah.
What am I going to wear? For girls, it's like, what am I going to wear? How is my hair going to look? These are all things that you have to think of. And it takes time, it takes intentionality, and it takes financial investment, to be honest. There's times, maybe I'd say like because of experience and because of how long we've been in the game, maybe the process is shorter or easier because you understand your brand style, you understand what emotion you want to leave the crowd with. You understand, maybe you've worked with a couple of people who are already active in the industry, so you kind of have your own groove as to how to do things. So maybe the practice or the sound check is shorter than usual because you are well experienced. So there's the back end of even what it takes. So like today, like that's what we've majorly been up to. And we still had to come shoot our podcast. So I think those are some of the things that like take time, essentially.
Yes.
My man came back yesterday. We could have easily spent Saturday like chilling and reconnecting, but because of, music being jealous, we are now just taking time to invest in that.
I think maybe something I should add is however much I think sometimes people over-glorify music in a sense.
Okay.
And when you say...
What do you mean?
Because now there's a boundary between people just saying, oh, music is jealous, it has in heavy investment.
Yes.
But I don't see people talking like that about being a doctor.
And yet...
It's really, it's very strenuous because people work on these jobs, like say 7 years of your life, you've given it to something. People don't talk about...
Do you think it's a marketing ploy? Like, because like it's like the way people talk about like being a content creator being super hard and nini. But do you think it's like a marketing ploy for you to like place like to charge higher because it's like I've invested so much time, like is it like
Could be.
Yeah, is it like I've worked, I need you to feel as though I have given my all in, because music is highly emotive. It's like, yo, I spent like 6 months in rehearsal and I've written 100 songs but I've selected only 12, so you can feel like I need to listen to the selected songs. Do you think it's a marketing ploy?
Partly, but also I think it's because all these others now in the serious world.
Yes. Don't take it.
People don't take musicians as serious.
I see. You're right.
See? So music is very jealous, but people don't see the seriousness of it.
Because it's like it's just.
It's like as you just sing.
Do you think it's just music or the creative arts? Because I also feel like creative arts, for sure.
Arts is it's people tone it down, but
in fact, I also think it's also because when you're on stage, it seems as though you're having fun. Even though as the performer, you've curated the show to be fun. Yeah. It's like, but you're having fun. That can't be work.
Yes, people don't see it as
even
work.
With football, like I'm trying to think, even with football, it's like you're playing.
Yeah.
No. You get on that field and run 3 times across the field. Then
tell me how you feel after that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like this thing of however much people say artistry is jealous, the crossover between artistry and now the serious careers is the thing that artistry is the only thing that now crosses over to everyone. Like it's one of those.
Well,
everyone.
I would say also doctors.
No, like everyone in this sense. Like there are times.
Backed by a doctor. I'm kidding. Continue.
True.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of like everyone.
Yeah.
Whenever they want relaxation, entertainment, the first
Leisure
result,
time.
It's always music.
Or entertainment in general.
Entertainment in general.
Yeah.
Because it's either you're watching a movie, in the movie there's music. It's either you're watching a play, in the play there's music.
Yeah.
It's either you're going to actually a concert.
Yeah.
Or it's either that you... like
as some of us today.
and on the back end is when you're singing to a child, a baby, always singing is music. So music ties so much in so many things. It's usually so sad when people don't find the seriousness in it. Yeah. Because people, even when you see like small kids talk about Cocomelon, when you just play that sound, the kid knows what that is.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, so I think
they don't take it seriously.
They don't take it seriously. And I think that sometimes can now make musicians feel, we are talking specifically to musicians because that's a field we are in. Yeah. And it's like, you feel like you should leave it because it's like you have invested so much. God, when is my time? When is this thing going to happen? And I think now that's the battle between your time and God's time. Yes, it's a very interesting thing I heard on a podcast. I think it was DJ Mo's. Yeah. And it was an artist who was sharing, and they said something along the lines of like, God, give me grace so that because I've been toiling for long. I think it was a similar conversation. And they were like, because I've been toiling for long, God, give me the grace that when I do make it, or when I do get to the point where I feel I'm in the prime of my career, I'm not too tired to tackle that season. So whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether it's mentally, whether it's even physically, because it's like, what if I start popping when I'm 45? Yeah. You know, you don't have the strength to do concerts every other week.
A world tour, you can't, you know. It was a very interesting conversation. Now, back to the story about just God's timeline and our timeline. How do we balance between waiting on God and taking action? How do you put that balance? How do we balance it out? Because sometimes as Christians we find ourselves, maybe someone is in prayer for like years on end. They're praying, and there's always that conversation of like, Christians are always praying, but they're not fulfilling. Yeah. They're actually not in the field doing the thing. And then what's also the balance of like, I'm working, so I'm action, and this other side is neglected. So how do you balance that, like waiting on God
and actually doing
and taking
the
action?
Thing. I think you need to have like you know how people do things and then they just have hope as their strategy. I think that is now where many people drop the bag, because hope is not a strategy. You're just hoping that things will work, and probably you're just seated at home with this gift. You never sharpen the gift. You never sharpen the work that you do. You never sharpen or polish up who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Because away from everything
Away
else,
from prayer.
away from prayer, you need to have good character. Character takes an investment of you or disciplines, things you need to do. So you find people who say, oh, I'm an amazing musician, and truly you are. You have a nice voice, you sing well, all this stuff. But then your character is lacking in so many areas. You do not know how to deal with people, you don't know how to talk to people. Regardless of whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, you need to know how to talk to people. You need to know how to communicate who you are. It's
And you
like
can learn how to if you
it's a
don't know.
learned thing. It's a skill, because I think sometimes people just put the weight on being talented. You put the weight on being good at something, but you overlook all the other things that also make you be good. Because good things
It's not
also,
just talent.
it's not just talent. Good things also
Did you
attractive.
hear that?
You know, good things are attractive. It's the same way you see a butterfly.
Tell us
It
about
has
the
a
butterflies.
whole, it has a whole life cycle.
Yes.
From the larva, pupa, and then now it goes back to being a butterfly. We only see these butterflies like, wow, nice colors. Oh, looks so good. But it has come for a whole journey.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, even with careers and everything, sometimes careers take time. You just have to be patient. People are not told that. People are just told, when you get this career, this is what you
Just
should
start
get.
posting.
Because that we hear
Yeah.
that a lot. Or someone you just told it's the frequency of how you post. Sometimes it's not. There are people who post once or twice, even a month, and have a lot of engagement. And there are people who
Yeah.
post daily and still have engagement. So
Yeah.
it's a discipline that you have to know, what is my
What
sell?
works for
What
me?
is my buy? Am I able to do this? And if I'm able to do it, maybe you are the person who loves to curate things. Maybe yours takes more time than other people. And you need to allow yourself to be yourself. And I think sometimes that's where the bone of contention is, because you're looking at other people's doing, and sometimes you want that for yourself. And it can be really tricky, because sometimes you really, like, you don't know where your opportunity meets preparedness. And I think most people really fight that. And you could really be working. You've worked on your integrity as an artist. You've worked on yourself as a human being. Like, all these things look good in paper. And even when people meet you, it's like, this person's really nice. I don't know why they're not popping off. Or even how sometimes you meet someone and then they say, you guys, your music is so good. I wonder why you guys have not popped so far. Even you're like, also us, we don't know. Like, like we've been putting in the work all over the years. And it's like, it will pop off when it will, but also we are not just seated waiting, And I think now on the other side of this conversation is that part of God is like, I've anointed you King David. You're only 15 or 12 years. Not knowing you have another 15 years to go. Not knowing, and sometimes I think that's the beauty and the painful bit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like if we knew when we were going to pop, oh my goodness, we were total distraction.
Do you know this image of, it's an image of a man who is digging a tunnel. And then he gives up. And the image is like, when he's just given up, if he just did like 3 more hacks, he would have access to the water or access. So every time I usually feel like giving
Remember the image.
And I know it's not a bad thing, but it's like,
It's
what if it's the devil who's trying to discourage me and I'm just about to
encouraging yourself in
the Lord. And it works every single time. I think I really love what you said. Maybe what I can add is there are principles that work in the world that God has put in place for us to work, where it's like, if you sow, you will reap. If there are certain ways of maneuvering that I don't know if I feel like sometimes I'm like, can we have like an author to just give us those principles in a book? But that's why the Bible exists. And it is the glory of kings to seek a matter. So we must seek, because someone can explain those principles and they not work for you. But if you're the one who's doing the searching, you'll appreciate it much more when you find the treasure, because you're like, I know how hard I worked to find this revelation. So I think there are principles that God has put in place for us where we can apply them and they work. However, I think it's also a balance of involving God even in the steps. So involving God in like your waiting process and being like, God, this is something that I'm desiring. It's something that I want. And I know it's not the time yet, or from the way it's looking, it's not looking like it's the time yet.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do now? And the most interesting thing is that every time I've asked God that question, there's always something I can do.
Yeah.
If I really look within, I'm like, there's always something I can do. Maybe I can always practice or be more intentional about my pen, like just push it a bit harder, see how much more I can write. Maybe I can try this other thing. Maybe I can start thinking about this other thing. So I think in that process is where even our what do I call it? Like our connection with God becomes even deeper, because every time even God talks about being with us, and more often than not, he's always talking about being with us when things are rough.
Yes.
Like it's like what's that verse for, like in the shadow of when you're in the valley of the shadow of death, I'm with you.
Yeah.
When you're in the deep waters, I will be with you. Like it's always like when things are rough, that's where you will find me.
I lay my bed in hell.
Yeah, so I think in those moments of like waiting and wilderness and everything, that's when you find or you meet God. And sometimes I usually feel like because of these things that we really desire in our timeline, we can exalt them above God, and God wants us to, like, kind of breaks us to be like, in fact, what you really want is not that, it's me. What you're looking for in that thing that makes you happy. Like if it's the marriage, if it's the success of music, if it's a job, if it's what you will get that. And because my promises are yes and amen, I've not given you that desire for nothing, but it is to kind of tune your heart to actually realize what the priorities are, so that even when that thing comes, you're not taken away from me, you're not taken away from my presence, you're still with me. And I think that's where, even with the Israelites, that's where I feel like they didn't quite grasp, because even when they actually got to Canaan, after, the earth had swallowed, like the ones who had, let me tell you, that book is so intense. I wish there was like, like the way nowadays there's like AI videos of I'm really looking for like the one for the Israelites, for like the swallowed. If anyone has it, please link it for me. I really need to.
I know like an AI page that does. I'll show you.
The only one I've seen is the one for Noah.
Yeah, that one for Noah I've seen.
But the one for Israelites, the earth swallowed the people, I need to see it. So the Israelites, I feel like they didn't grasp that, because once they got into Canaan, they now started asking for a king, because that's what they were seeing other people do. And so I think for me the balance is involving God and being like, let all that I desire above everything, tune my desires to be towards you, and not just this other thing. Though this thing is good, and though this thing is, even the way we're talking about ambition, it's like, I want to pursue this thing and I want to be productive, and these are the desires of my heart. Obviously, they're not just there for my own benefit, but tune them so that they can align with your will for my life, so that I'm not losing my mind or my way. I'm finding you as I'm finding this thing, and it's rough. It's not easy. That's not an easy thing to even accept if God tells you.
Well, I think now the tough part is when God tells you that's not what's working. I don't want you to do that. Do this. And sometimes I feel like that is gonna be like some people.
What do you mean?
Like, I think God will be. I usually tell myself, I don't know if this is the interpretation that people have for it, but I think for me at least, it's usually like, I think God, when he says like, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb, I usually question myself and be like, what do you know? Like, and it's
not funny. It's like
it's that thing like okay, so that means,
what exactly did you know? Because even the world didn't know.
Because it's a very heavy confession coming from the Lord of the universe,
Creator.
It's like, I knew you when I formed you. Like, it's like, by the way, I thought about you. I formed you, and before I formed you, I knew you. And then I think it's that coming back to like, I made you in my own image and likeness. So I think of myself first as a creator, because he's a creator. So it's like, even for me, it validates my creativity in a way. It's like, if God is the creator, then means I'm partly a creator. Shout out to Tyler, the creator. Picked a really nice name for a secular artist, but...
And I think creation isn't just artistic. I feel even like being at work and like coming up with ideas is creating. Yeah.
Even doctors who stitch things and just put things together. That's creation.
It's a different level, but it's creation.
Yeah. So I think of it like, sometimes there are things that at the end he says like, oh, I knew you would not depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I usually ask myself, like, if you say followed a path or a career or maybe a thing that God didn't intend you to do, and maybe you did exploits in that career, by the you became a pastor and people fell under the anointing.
The forests.
In
the Amazon.
From
extinction.
Save the planet, save the children. Like you did like all wondrous things and truly even pushed the gospel.
Yes.
But God is like, I don't know this version of you. Like maybe you are supposed to be. Like I formed a very different person. And I think sometimes I'm just like, maybe those are those things that you are like, that's the fear of God I have, of like, hey, God, I don't want to make mistakes.
Yes.
Like, I want to love you fearfully in that sense of like, I don't want, sitaki kuzoea Mungu. Like, I don't want to be too comfortable with God to the extent where
I also don't want to miss the mark.
Yes,
I don't want to miss it.
And I think that's the thing with the timing. It's like, God, there's a thing in me that's burning for me to do certain things. And maybe I feel like, maybe if I have a bigger platform, that's when it would be noted and it would be seen.
My God.
But on the other side,
a really quiet church.
On the other side, it's that thing of like, God, maybe you're really protecting me because the weight of the place you're taking me, maybe it's even higher than all these people I think are ahead of me. So maybe the weight on me might be very different. Maybe the platform might be bigger. The platform might be heavier. And this, we say it from Spider-Man. To whom much is given,
much
with great power
comes great responsibility.
And I think that's
Shout out to you, Stanley.
Did a good job, So it's like that thing of like, sometimes people don't understand the power. Because when you look at Peter Parker and Spider-Man, he really is battling.
Wow, we are really talking about more.
And even when you look at on the other beat with Clark Kent
like
and
Iron
Superman,
Man,
with what was his name? Tony Stark and Iron Man.
Oh yeah, Tony Stark. You're right.
Tony Stark and Iron Man. Like it was always a conflict.
Thanos didn't really know his personal life. Just killed everyone.
In the comics, he actually had it right, but that's a story for another day.
That's
all the Marvel and DC geeks. Let's meet behind the tent.
Yeah, please.
But it's so interesting that there's usually a battle between the greatness and the responsibility. And I think sometimes we really belittle the responsibility.
Because sure.
Even in artists, you hear artists say, me, I'm not doing this to be a role model. Then stop doing music altogether. Because that's a responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
You'd say...
I think maybe they mean like, don't... Like you can choose to place me as that. But I'm not coming for that purpose. No,
I understand what you're saying fully, but that's the thing.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you, babe. I'm saying that because of this thing, it's like just the way, if you decide to become a pastor, people will carry you a certain way, whether that's your intention or not. So it's like, it's not there's a certain responsibility you have.
Yeah.
But there's also one where you're like, that's on you. If you decide to carry me that way, that's on you. Yeah.
That's not me.
If you, I can't choose the example of a pastor for this example, but it's like, if you find me at a funny corner somewhere, that's you'll be surprised because you carried me a certain way. But me, I'm not surprised because I know what I'm doing. You get what I mean?
True.
Yeah, so.
True. So like, I think sometimes the responsibility and the weight of where you're going, I think sometimes varies, and I think sometimes we carry ourselves lightly with our dreams, or we don't understand the veracity of it. because at some point, what you're
He
doing...
said velocity.
We don't know, like, I think sometimes we think of ourselves greatly, but then we don't understand how great.
And we're not willing to accept the burden that comes with the
comes
greatness.
with being great.
Just like our president. I mean, I don't even think he knew. Like this was,
the weight of the seat.
That we're done with that conversation.
Yeah, because if I look at it, I've seen a documentary with Kobe and how he was thinking before he went to games. And I think for him, he understood he was going to be great, but it never played it into his mind how great he was going to be. Because for him, it was all about winning games. And there was a reporter who asked him, like, did you know that you're going to win? Every single time he said yes. So he'd ask him, like, I followed you in different forums. You always say you're going to win. Yes, you do win, but why are you so sure? And then he said, it's the training that I do. So, like, you're always training. You always know that the way I'm training, I can never drop the ball. So it's that thing of, like, once you are doing something, fully knowing the weight of it, and there are times you're sure that it might take long, but it will happen.
Can I throw a spanner in the works? Sometimes I think that there's a blessing in the naivety of us not knowing the burden of responsibility that comes with whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
Because if we knew, most of us would say no. So I think there's two ways to look at it. There's that, like, there's a blessing in the naivety because you have your own definition of what you are looking forward to and what you're expecting this thing to give you, whether it's soul fulfillment, success, glitz and glam, all of that.
Yeah.
But there is also now the aspect where Christianity comes in and God talks about being our strength when we are weak.
Yeah.
And our weakness is a space for him to be able to become the power that works in us. So in as much as, yes, there is that responsibility, and sometimes it can be extremely overwhelming. You're like, God, listen, at this point, I can't, whatever they're asking me to do, I can't do it. So you help me. So I think there's that balance of, okay, God, when I was coming in this game, I didn't think of all these things. But now that I'm here, and I still want to do it, and I'm really passionate about, like, now music, because that's what we're on about, or even marriage, to be honest. Maybe you got married and you're in it, and now you're like, oh, I have to wash the dishes every day. Whoa. So it's like there's a space where you can invite God and be like, this thing is too big for me to carry. The load is too heavy for me. And that's why Jesus talks about, like, take my yoke upon you. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. All these things that you think you need, reward, brand, and we've seen like these success stories of, like, somebody didn't have marketing and God just elevated the song and it became heard worldwide. Even with someone like Sophia and Zhao, like,
such a story.
She was like the biggest streamed artist last year. So it's stuff like those that now it might not be everyone's story. Okay, that's like 1 in 100. So there's also space for that. But all I'm saying is there's a space for the blessing in the naivety of
not knowing.
If you told me this, if you gave me a trailer of this is how it's happening,
I'll probably quit.
Yes, but also that naivety and everything allows God to come in and now work through you and make a path for you and make you understand, okay, maybe this is what you thought it is, this is what it actually is for you. Because it can be that what you thought it was, but for someone else. So this is what it is for you. How do you navigate it? Now, on the topic of timeline versus God's timeline, do you have any, like, so let me do it two way, like societal expectations? So societal could be like maybe by age something you're supposed to be rah, rah, rah. Or did you have any, like, even relational ones or family ones, like, where by certain time you should have this, certain time you should have this? Now let me share a very funny story. There's a friend of ours was telling us the story of, like, she's been single for a long time, and that she's raised in a Christian home. So her mom, like all Kenyan or African parents, when you're young, do not have sex. Do not bring a baby in this house. Do not bring a man in this house.
Don't talk to boys.
Yeah, don't talk to boys, all of that. And then at like in 20s, like 25, I'm like, oh, hauna rafiki? Hakuna mtu unaleta? Aya, age 35, age 30. Nataka tu mjukuu.
The story starts changing.
However, the mjukuu is gonna come.
It's up to you.
It's not of value at this point.
Just bring them.
Just bring a baby. So, like, do you have any... it's interesting that it changes. Like, maybe you... is it like a value? I don't know. But did you have any societal... Or have you had any societal or family? Yeah. Or even timelines that you've placed on yourself.
On myself.
Because you see, maybe like... Now, like, for me, I'm approaching 30. And I'm just like... I'm looking at other people who are 30 or trying to think like, what did I think my 30th year would be like? So I don't know if you've had any.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those. First of all,
okay, pull up the script. Yeah.
It will come in a dream. Come in there, Ezekiel, a big scroll. I think a conversation we're definitely gonna need to have in the pod is just a conversation called parents. I don't know how we're going to have that conversation.
Or phrase it.
And phrase it in a respectable way to our elders.
Hi, Mom.
Because I think like there's a lot of gems, a lot of things. And I don't know, may God bless us so that the podcast grows more and more.
Yeah.
So that we can even host like
For
parents
sure.
and actually have the
that would
convo.
be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Because sometimes I think we see our parents as people who dropped the ball, but just not knowing that we are those parents now. You know, it's that thing of like, you're just trying to
wewe venye unajiangalia sasa. Imagine your parents at this age had two children.
Imagine.
They were balancing work, children, taxes.
Oh my goodness. Funny
Jam.
enough, and funny enough, during their time, the money actually had value. So imagine us, we are working.
Wait, don't say it like that.
No, it's true, but it's true.
It still has value now.
No, like what we earn
I guess
is
what
more,
you're saying. Yeah, it's more, but the value
is so less. Yeah, but I had a lot of timelines for myself personally.
Oh, share them. Let's hear.
I had timelines, one with the music that didn't pan out.
What was your timeline and what is it now?
My timeline was like, by the time I'm reaching the 10th year in music, like I'd already had
international
a breakout,
star.
International star.
Rich Records, is that you?
Rich Records, what's up?
Yeah.
I would probably be, I don't know, Trace just happened recently. I'd probably be on that stage performing.
Artist, yes.
You know, I would have won a Trace or a Mama by now, because I mean, shout out to Daddy One because he opened the doors for that possibility to happen. Like, I thought that was a reality that would hit me before I'd hit 10 years in the industry. I have hit 10 years, ever since I started music with the group. By myself, I think it's like around 6 or...
Yeah,
probably 6, 6, 7 years.
So if we count by solo, not yet.
Not yet.
If we count by group, yes.
Hey, I might have the, you know. And I think sometimes the pain with that sometimes comes with when you see younger artists blow up and it's maybe just their first song or their first try and you really feel heartbroken. And I think there was like a switch with the gospel and secular. So now it feels like, feels like the secular acts are up and then the gospel acts, you're just like, hey, you're really barely
struggling for crumbs.
You know, so it's just like...
So guys, please
support the music.
Our music, man.
Her page is Shani. Just look, you'll get it. And Muhanji with a double I.
Okay.
You know? Support us. We are out here struggling and making. Come on, guys. Come on. You know. So it's really tough.
We're laughing, but it's very serious.
It's actually serious, guys. Spotify. Support. I think sometimes it becomes hard to keep up even a face, because you see people who transitioned from gospel music to secular, and you actually see like they're doing better than they were in gospel, and you're just like, hey, is this an answer? You know, like you really start questioning things. And truly, sometimes you could start chasing the success other than chasing God, which I don't think for me that has been a resolution I'm like ready to do. It's like,
Yet.
I'd rather be just, not yet, I'd rather whoa.
Are you willing to sell
Whoa.
feet pics?
You know, so I think I had timelines for myself with that success. Timelines. I don't think I
With
had
family, did you have anything?
Family, not really.
Have you, like, were you ever asked like to bring someone to the home?
Nah.
Really? But they're a bit fearful of you, to be honest. They know how to come to you.
Yeah,
as a family. Coming to you as a family.
My demeanor and just the way I do things, it was like, yeah, this unapproachable guy, stay there and do your thing.
Yeah.
But at least, I think the one thing I did well was I never gave them worries of whether I liked girls or not. You know, like they always had.
Should we make fun of that?
They always like saw females around me, so it was hard for them to pinpoint who are you
exactly
with?
It is.
You know, so.
But then did you ever take a chick home? No.
No.
Sorry, ladies. I made it through.
Yeah, but I think one important thing is that even during those different phases, like I didn't have like heavy timelines on the family.
Mostly it was work for you.
For me, it was work. It was like, what would I have achieved?
Yeah.
By
I think also we
and for me, it was age 30.
Ah.
So even right now, looking
past
back,
that now.
So I was like, hey, because I
think you still have
on my
it now?
30th birthday, you really did a really nice birthday for me.
Yeah. Okay.
It was very well celebrated. I really enjoyed it. And I think just looking back, it was funny because I didn't have any expectation on that day because I was just like, I'm
like
already
all birthdays.
30. I was just like, I'm already 30.
Babe, like this year, will you give me give me expectations? Like, can you have expectations for your birthday?
Well, I don't know.
Just have them so that...
It's like I want a clown. Bring
for
a clown.
That's what you want?
I don't know.
Can I get you the mascots? We'll talk about it after the photo. But like, give me expectations. Sometimes it's like, when you don't have any, I'm left...
Did I do a good job?
Yeah, I'm like, give me something I can work with, my gosh. So that if I do bring it, and then we can rate it from like 1 to 10 and be like, okay, what did we like about this? What didn't we like about this? How can we work on it? Yeah.
But I think that comes from, I rarely had birthdays. So I
Bus.
so it's like,
Bus.
birthday. Oh. And I think later on is like when me.
But you've been enjoying them lately, and I'm happy.
But the only birthdays I had is when I was really young, and that was because my mom used to make like cake for us. So that's where I love pastries from. My love for pastries came from there. But now now with mom not being around, so now there's a very long period of like from when I was like, I think from class 5 to maybe later on in high school, like birthdays were just like, birthday. It wasn't like a big deal. But now I met a very amazing woman who loves birthdays, and birthdays are a big deal.
Not just birthdays, every holiday.
Every important happening.
Hata ya nini, ya mazingira we must do something.
You know, so I think that changed a lot of things, you know. It's a very cute segue right there for you.
Yeah. Celebrate your people.
So I didn't have like huge timelines. I wanted, I think I said by 30 I'd be married. Thank God, got married just after I got 30, like a year later. Got married. So, so for me it was like, didn't think that would have happened. Another marker I crossed was when we were staying in Jerry, I said, when I move out, I'm actually going
in Jericho.
Yes, I was
the original Jericho. I'm kidding. It is the original Jericho in Kenya.
It is.
Yes.
At whatever Jerry, Bahadu, Buru, I see you. Yeah.
Is that West Side? Can I do the sign?
East side, Eastland.
This is for what?
That's West Side.
For where?
But West Side is still Western. Still, you can do it. Kakamega, Shinyalu, is still.
I really wanted to do this science.
You know, so it's. I'm grateful because when I moved, I said, you know, when I moved from Jerry, I'm actually going to stay in Karen in a 1-bedroom. At that point, I didn't even know what I was saying, and truthfully, when I actually moved out,
Oh my.
I lived in Karen in a 1-bedroom, which was like, I think that's when for me it dawned on me like really words have power, because I say that in passing, and I actually told my bro and my cousin that that's where I'm thinking of living, and having done that,
it happened.
So there were certain timelines that came to pass, others by chance, others. Because I didn't have pressure about getting married. I didn't have maybe a timeline.
You're like, I'm a fine boy. It will happen.
It will happen when it will happen. And it did happen.
And you are a fine boy.
So, but maybe a pressure that was there, but it was not necessarily communicated, but you kind of felt it. Was that pressure
By family?
of
Okay.
Was that pressure of now being independent and moving out and doing your own thing? Yeah, but it was that thing of just like
I'm sorry for the gender of men, because women, we do not have that at all.
Yeah, so but it was that, because I think at the time it was just like moving. It was like step by step by step, and it was like my bro, my cousin. So it was like the next possible thing. It was like and then now when it happened, it came like a shock. It was like, oh, you're actually moving out, you know. So
okay.
So I think that
Those
I
are
would
for
say
you.
like some of those. I don't know if you had.
For me, like societal, like wise, I'd say the same with you for music. It's like you can. It's not that you're not making money, but it's almost like this money in aoga, because you're investing in music and it's not giving back. So maybe you're making even the same amount as your age mates, but because you're investing in something different, that when it does yield, it's gonna yield 100-fold. Your friends can feel like they're progressing further than you. So maybe like at a certain age, you're like, wait, whoa. When did we all buy 1 acre lands? When did this? So I think in terms of society, I've had that pressure on myself of like, by a certain age, I should be making this kind of money. This is the kind of life I'd like to live. But because of the investment in the music, maybe it's gonna take a bit more time.
Yeah.
So that's just a personal pressure I have on myself.
Yeah.
And then even with family, I think for me, I didn't have any pressure in terms of like dating or anything, but maybe in terms of like, in terms of music, and I still get it till now. There's a pressure of, why don't you have a job, like a regular
job,
like why you're not
like
going to the office, you know, like why you're not, you know, like talking about traffic, and so there's that pressure to be like, get something that I can
is considered serious.
Yes, it's considered serious, or I can tell people about, because it's almost like embarrassing for you to say that you're
a musician.
Yeah, and like even for your parents or your aunties to be like, they just, or like if you even if it's like your family's friends and you meet people and they're like, what do you do? It's like music. Oh, okay. And then what else do you do?
Yeah, that's
all I do, guys. You know,
music.
To have that like that pressure. It's not even like it's not bad pressure. It's just it's uncomfortable. Yeah. it's just awkward for both of you. So for me, in terms of family, maybe I've had that, and just even musically, just the pressure of like, when is it gonna? How much more do I need to invest before it gives? Yeah. So with personal timelines, I think in terms of marriage, I wanted to get married in my late 20s, and that happened. I wanted to be in a relationship, a serious one, at the time, and it happened at the time that I wanted it to. So it's just these other things that just need to catch up, and I'm good. But those are kind of like some of the ones that I've been facing. How I've navigated them is crying to my husband and to the Lord about it, and also really reminding myself the reason as to why I do it. Because sometimes you can easily bow to what people think of you, and once you start, it's very hard to stop.
Yep.
So it's really just about defining what does success look like to me, and that's why we had the conversation on ambition and how exactly do I define success, and how do I navigate it, and how do I keep it in check? How do I not bow to societal pressure of you should be this at this time? I think also another thing that has really helped is just contentment. Easier said than done. It's like, okay, how long will I be in a matatu? You know, so it's really contentment and being okay with your season, even as you're trusting in God for the next season. So those are kind of some of the ways I've been able to navigate, and then also, to be very honest, just ignoring the haters in terms of like even the aunties or the what, because now of course the pressure is okay. Now you're married, so. Yeah.
Where's the serious job?
No, kids.
Oh, hey.
They're like anytime today.
Just arrived.
Anytime.
Just
so
arrived.
I think it's also just ignoring it and just focusing. There's actually a very interesting analogy my mom gave at my bridal shower, and she said that like she said that life is like a sieve, like a kichungi. So you can hear whatever people are saying about you, but it is your responsibility to sift and be like, okay, this masala, this majani chai, the tea is what is entering the cup. Yes. None of these other things, any bay leaves, any cardamom, any cinnamon. Stop putting so many spices in. Just cook.
Yes, let's just
at this point,
cook
just cook. Just make
Why
tea.
are we cooking tea?
Yeah, so anyway, but it is to say that you can listen, but really guard your heart and sieve, you know, what matters to you and aligns with what you want for your life, because it is your life.
Yep.
Yes. What are some of the ways you navigate?
I think sometimes I can be hard-headed, and it has helped me a lot.
Yes. Nowadays, I feel like you have a really good balance of it.
Yeah. I wonder why. I think I have been very hard-headed the earlier bits of my life, and I think it has helped me a lot. I mean, looking from where I grew up in, the environment allowed you to be hard-headed and follow your dreams in a way. And I have stuck my guns to it. Like, I'll do this thing when I say I'll do it.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to do music, I'd do music.
Yes.
People maybe might not see what I'm doing or might not understand, but it's like, it's mine, I will do it because it's mine. And I think just owning my story for me has also helped me a lot. It's that owning of like, I'm the one behind this dream.
And here's a lesson. I feel like sometimes they're not ready for this conversation. I will say, like, sometimes, and it's something I learned through one of the preachers I follow. He was just talking about how sometimes the things we think are flaws in people, God has uniquely designed them that way to help them in their purpose. Because I wouldn't say you would be the musician you are today if it wasn't for your hard-headedness or your stubbornness. And it doesn't always have to be a bad thing to be stubborn. It doesn't have to always be a bad thing when you're emotional. True. Because this is what helps you.
Be you.
Yes, be you, bring out the purpose that God has given you to its full potential. So when we try as the people who are experiencing this person to diminish them or to dismiss them or to talk down upon this thing that we think are flaws because they are affecting us negatively, then we don't create a space for them to actually thrive in their calling. So it calls upon wisdom and us to be like, this thing is boring me, but I know God has put it in you for a specific reason. So how do we fine tune it to or create that balance? And I think also it depends on the thing we talked about last week, which is like adaptability. You as a person, are you willing to change? So if you haven't listened to that episode 4, thank you.
Yes, I think that also I think I have very strong personal resolve to just do something regardless of whether someone sees what you're doing or not, or whether someone
That's so true, actually.
is
You're right.
cheering you on.
I really admire that about you. I wish I had that.
Thank
Y'all need
you.
to look at me when I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, because
Yeah.
like I think just that personal resolve of being like, this is what I want to do. This
Yes.
is something that I really desire to do, and I'm just there going on and on and on to make sure it happens. I think has helped me so much, and maybe it has helped me the times when I was like quitting and just being like, no, this thing is not working.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. And there's a time I was like, I don't want to hear someone say how good you are. No, I need to see results.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think in the greater picture, looking at it, yani, it has been quite a breeze. Some days tougher than others, definitely, but it's a slow burn, and sometimes I mean you grow and you see the changes, you see the building up pole pole. So that also has helped me a lot. I think another thing, people might say being a bit too spiritual, but I think for me, faith, my faith in God has
Helped you.
like I'm just
you
like
could not help yourself.
you know, like how they say at history, David encouraged himself in the Lord.
You have to. You have to.
Kwanza now,
You
as
really
we are in
have
the
to.
creative
Yes.
space, like you
have to. You have to.
you hear things, and sometimes you're just like, hey, yeah, I know if I did that, I will be used as an example by God.
It's like when you were a kid and you thought of stealing, and no one has ever been caught. But the one day you try,
That's when people are caught.
suddenly the CCTV was working.
And all the children.
Suddenly the shopkeeper just happened to look at you as you were taking the sweet. Suddenly your mom was 5 minutes away from where you are. So the punishment was quick and severe.
You know, so I think it's like those moments where you're just like, hey, God, I don't know what this means, but hey, man, you just help me.
Yes.
Yani, you help me. I think also in that, another thing also has helped me is allowing myself to be helped. Because I think sometimes, initially when I was starting, I was like, this thing, I'll do it by myself. I'll figure it out. The faster and tougher you realize you can't do it by yourself.
Yes.
Like, that's why you understand, like, sometimes artists can have like a whole team, a whole management of people.
Yeah, at some point you need
you know,
it.
so
yes.
I think it was very pivotal to now allow people in my space to help me. And even
don't accept help from everyone.
Yeah,
that's on boundaries.
I also on that being helped, there's that bit. Don't just accept help from anyone, because people have their own motives with whom they want to help you.
For sure.
So I think those are some of the ways that I've been able to maneuver it.
Okay.
But I think just staying on course, despite the challenges.
You defined your ambition.
Oh, and friends, good friends.
What about them?
Good friends have also helped me, because it's that thing of sometimes you really feel like you're really downcast and sometimes it's not just things are not going your way, but even the small wins they tell you and you actually celebrate them and you're just like,
because you could be focused on like
the big picture. You're like, this is the thing, this is the win. All these other things are small, and it's like they are small but they fit the puzzles to the big thing. So I think just having good friendships and
helps.
That, and they allow you to just be sometimes just dumb in your dream, like chase it. Those people are just like, hey, by the way, inspire.
We're with you, yes.
You just keep doing your thing. Once you inspire me, you're just there thinking to yourself, how am I inspiring you?
I need to be inspired.
Hardworking artist who is trying to make things happen, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
I think maybe like an encouragement even as we close. Even as you think about how to encourage them, because I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Yeah.
I think for me, there's something that I heard about, and I think it's something that I carry with me. Yeah. It's like Jesus achieved so much in his ministry in 3 years than most of us do in our lifetime.
Ouch.
And the Bible talks about God, Jesus being fully man, as he was fully God. So even because I feel like salvation and even some of the verses in the Bible will take us a lifetime to unpack. and we'll never fully grasp what it is until we get to eternity. I think by Jesus being fully man, he shows us that it is possible.
That part.
Yes. And so I feel like we can draw so much from Jesus in terms of even how he navigated his life. Like the way we were talking about, he was, or rather the way we were talking about like balancing waiting on God and like taking action. Because like for Jesus, for example, he was anointed at 12. In fact, when he was born, he knew what he was here to do. So it's like he had to wait till he was 30 for him to be able to. And maybe that's a word.
That's a word.
Maybe you need to get to 30. I'm kidding. To see there.
It only takes 3 years.
I'm joking. But it is to say that we can look upon Jesus' life as an example, because I wouldn't want you guys to look at us as an example, as Wanja said, he does not want to be a role model. But to cut it short, is we can look up unto Jesus as the author and perfecter of our faith, and he shows us how to navigate. I'm reminded of this verse of like, every time he was in big crowds, every time you would see, after he's finished with the big crowds, he'd always go withdraw and pray. And I think part of the reason he did that is because sometimes we can be carried away by people's praise, that we forget our intention. We can forget the person who is supposed to receive the praise. We can't forget the thing that we're supposed to do, because a huge part of even the creative aspect is like, we yearn for people's acceptance. It's the fuel that keeps us going, let's be honest. So maybe when they accept us, it's like, oh, this is the kind of song you guys like. I'm going to give you 14 of them, So it's really, when he withdrew, it was to, I believe, it was to align himself back to God's will, and align himself back to, okay, remind me again what we're doing. Remind me that my desire is you. Remind me that this is the purpose. This is what I'm, So we can really draw a lot from Jesus in terms of just, he really balanced being with the people and serving and service and, being on this timeline, but also aligning to God's plan. And so even as we do it, because we are also on that journey, we encourage you to do the same. And God is going to help us all, because we can't help ourselves, to be honest. To be very
that's
honest.
narrative. God helps those who help themselves. That's not even scripture. So don't take it serious by the...
And that's on encouragement from
Wanji. Encouragement, yani. And maybe even like something small, maybe just word, because you've really given a really good outro. I'm just thinking like, now what can I even say? But
you can sing God bless you. And our favorite line to close the show.
But even as we close out, like something small is not small.
Proceeds to give us 10 minutes. I'm kidding.
Something to leave you guys with that I hope encourages you is, it's never late to start. I think sometimes you might see like there's a dream you had maybe when you were young.
That's actually really nice.
Right now, maybe you are of age and you feel like I might not.
What does of age mean?
Like you're of age, like you see yourself as older, and maybe
that is of age.
You're of age.
Sounds so.
You think people of your age are not allowed to do that. Maybe you feel like that has passed.
Homestar might be a content creator at 53.
At 53. You can do it. Maybe you see TikTok
Have you seen
dancers.
that podcast of like the retired homes? I think it was on TikTok I saw it. It's like these old people, they're white. They have like these old people homes, and then they started a podcast, and they're all retired and old, and they're just talking about how life was, and it's so nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it also on my FYP. So like sometimes you might see this dream you had, and you might think that it's done, maybe because you're 50 or in your 60s, and I usually say like everyone is a well, and there's something you can take from people that can quench something that it's in them. And I believe that even as you are of age, there are things that you know that people need to know. So maybe it's a podcast you need to start. Talk to your grandchildren. talk to your friends, reach out to
And
someone
put you onto
who,
TikTok trends.
yeah, you know, like reach out to people who you see that these people are going to a direction I want to head to, and you might share one or two things that would help. And sometimes you don't know that you might be an answer to an industry, you might be an answer to a person, an individual, a group, and you might be an answer to also a generation.
Doesn't mean you have to have 100 million followers or views.
And sometimes maybe you're just a person of resource. You are a well of resource for people. So that is maybe you're a kingdom financier, or you're a kingdom, I don't know, mentor. Because I feel like our generation, we are very informed, but we are not experienced. So experience and
you are encouraging the people, sir.
yeah,
but carry on, go deeper, Papa.
So information and experience can really help us know how. No, it's not cutting corners, but it helps you get to
faster.
Shorten
the story.
You know? So my encouragement is just like for the people who are older and feel like they can't do or chase certain dreams, you are able to do it. Just do it. For those who are younger and see it as something that they don't even know how to attain it, the uncharted and unknown path is there for living. So whatever it is in your hands, use it. As Jesus just asked Moses, what is in your hands? That rod, that's all he needed. And I think you can't exhaust time because we are serving, hopefully
for you who's watching.
Hopefully for you who's watching, because we know who we are serving. Hopefully for you who's watching, we are serving the one who
knows you
time.
Before he formed you.
And the one who redeems time.
Yes.
So he can redeem your time. He can make your time shorter. And ask him these questions. Have our heart to heart with God and get to figure out certain things. So, I mean, with that little homage said, I really don't know how our outro, by the way, too hard.
It's okay. We are only on episode 4. By the time we're on episode 170,
5.
Episode 5. By the time we're on episode 1000 and
just remember to stay creative.
No. No.
See?
Okay, but you can tell them to make sure to subscribe and comment. We really want to hear your thoughts.
Comment, guys.
If you don't even have a comment, just say I love the video, and that's gonna be
nice
such a
quality, guys. You're doing a good job.
It's gonna be such a great encouragement for us. We really wanna get to know you much better.
Yeah.
So please subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Follow us on your podcast platform.
Yeah.
Make sure that you rate us so that we can get to people who are just like you, who are looking for Christian conversations just about life and everything in between. Yes. But my friends, until then, stay blessed, stay creative, and remember,
Squad Iko Sawa!
Woo!